So Graham, a lot is happening at the moment. It's real high octane stuff. How do you see the short and medium future going now?
Thanks, Vince. First of all, thank you to the Chamber again for organising this, and welcome to everybody this morning. I think it's worth saying also, just to start off, as last time, I've also got Joe Lockett from my office on this call. So given that he comes from an impeccable credential, which is Altrincham Grammar School and Durham University, can't beat that combination. He's there to pick up anything that I can't answer. And as he did last time, he'll be taking notes and either picking things up to try to get answers from somebody for people, or he may be able to supply the answers directly himself. I think it's important to say this whole thing, over the last month, we've seen it unfolding. It's an iterative process. There is, as everybody knows, a very big package of support which has been arranged by the government, which I think was broadly welcomed. What has gradually become apparent over the last month is that there are also certain people, certain categories, certain businesses which are unable to access aspects of the support package. So, I think what my office have been doing over the last month quite significantly has been taking those issues back to government to try to get things resolved and try to get some changes in the schemes. And I know there's somebody who has a question later about the new bounce back loan, but that is quite a good example where, in response to the widespread concerns about the difficulty of accessing CBILS, many of us had made the point to Treasury, can't we have 100% guarantee so that the banks are prepared to get these things out of the door more quickly? And the response, not unreasonably, from Treasury is that that was wide open to fraud, and they were very worried about what the potential long-term cost would be of doing that. And I imagine others responded saying, well, why can't you give 100% guarantee for a smaller amount that then makes that compromise? And so I was very pleased to see that coming forward in the bounce back loan. Another example was the question of who was eligible for furlough, and we saw that the date extended, and we also saw people allowed into the furlough scheme who had already been let go by an employer before the support was announced. So I hope you will find that this process is worthwhile. I'm sure that not all of the problems will be resolved, but we'll keep working to try to do that. The only other thing I want to say by way of introduction really is to build on some of the things that I was saying in the media over the weekend and earlier in the week. I think we're at a point now where we have got to start to transition from these very tight restrictions, both on people's liberty and on the ability of people to make a living and run their businesses. And it's a very difficult decision that's going to be made by the government. Next week, a week today, we come to the end of the 3-week extension of the so-called lockdown period. It's perfectly reasonable for people to argue that there is a risk in releasing that set of restrictions, and that you might, by doing so, end up with an enhanced risk of another spike in the infections. But I think it's also true to say that most of the experts say it's very likely that this horrible disease has now become a fixture. It will be with us for quite a long time, and we may well see further waves of it. You could have a second, third, fourth. And my view certainly is you couldn't repeat this sort of intense lockdown a second, third, fourth time. So I think trying to find a way that we can get more people back to work, get life moving again, but try to do it in a way that incorporates as many safeguards as possible, and just move gradually to try to do this as safely as we can, I think is the sensible way to go. And I hope that government will be listening to those messages. But that's enough as an introduction. Here to try to help with your questions.